Okay, so as we left it, um, we looked last time at the figures, and today what we're going to look at is we're gonna look at making the dojo. So that is what we're going to do. So this is what I've done so far. Basically, in cinema, I created the structure. I used bowls. So basically, the bowl will cut. If you look here, oh, I'm in the middle of this. Can't do. Let me show you. The bowl here will um, take the child cube. The second item cuts into the first. So this is the wall, and this is cube. Happens to be one window. Cube one's another. And what I had to do is stick it under, so it's like a hierarchy. And it'll put it together, and you have these four windows. This two windows against the left wall, and two windows against the right wall. And then I also took advantage of the what do they call it, the object browser or something like that, object manager. No, asset browser. So they give you a bunch of assets. So if you're using a standard render, first of all, if you're using Octane or Redshift, which if you have a proper subscription to Cinema 4D, it should include Redshift. And you don't need Maxon 1 to get Redshift. But it will, you can, they have certain textures that they provide. Also, if you subscribe to Grayscale Gorilla, that will also take care of that. They'll also provide, they have a whole thing on textures. For Octane and for Redshift, they do not have standard. So for standard, go into your asset browser, and I found this concrete. Now I don't know if it's going to come in. I think it will with an FBX if it's a standard material. That's one thing I've been told in some of the tutorials I've watched on this, that you can't use an Octane or a Redshift material and expect it to come in as in the FBX. So I put a little concrete material. I put some pipes. I thought that was the idea come from watching, looking at some images of dojos. And actually, I think I can show this to you. Let me bring it over where you can see it. So this is different pictures of Joey. This has a really long, wide barrel piping, but I did something just real simple. And I'm going to want to make some rugs. I want a US and a Japanese flag or a Korean flag, depending if we're going to call it a Taekwondo dojo or a karate dojo. I actually took Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a little bit. That was a totally other thing. That didn't work out so well because I'm tiny. I'm 4'6" and under 90 pounds, and the problem you run into when you're as tiny as myself doing a grappling art is, who do you train with? If I can find another woman and she wasn't too big, that was optimal. There weren't a whole lot of women in this class. The boys, 12-year-olds were about my size. Problem is, a 12-year-old boy doesn't fully have control over it, doesn't fully know what his strength is, and therefore you run into, they're more likely to hurt you, not intentionally, but unintentionally. And the men are very careful. They're not going to hurt you, but they're too big to really do anything. So I did a much more successful in stand-up arts. But anyway, so this is kind of some ideas of what a dojo can look like. And they can look many different ways, as you can see. This is pretty standard. You're going to have your mats. Usually it's something cultural like they have here, the flags and so on. And there's other stuff I want to put in it. But getting back to the matter at hand here. So this is what I got so far. Let me save this. Always want to save. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to export this in FBX. Now, this is really for cinema out of proportion. I brought in a figure, and this is a tip, and I've seen it done many times. If you're trying to get things in proportion, there's something in Create here. Let's see, where's my other? I think it's under other. Oh, mesh. It's something called a figure. And said figure is, see how tiny he is? So obviously you're not gonna, this is not in proportion for cinema. If I was doing this strictly in cinema, I would have made this much, much smaller. So let's get rid of him. The other thing I did is I kind of put everything together in one object, but I didn't delete the others just in case. You know, you want to be able to make modifications here should the need arise. And these pipes are basically non-editable, but I kept all the other things so I can change things should the need arise. And then I can always recombine it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to export it. I'm going to export it in FBX. And very important, before I do that, oh no, I have the right thing selected. You have, for this I want to do selection only. So export FBX, and when you get to settings, I think it's in selection only, and let's see what this, gonna leave it as that. Pretty much we want to take our materials and there's really no animation, so we don't need tracks. If there was, you would make sure to get all your materials. And away you go. So I'm going to save it as gym 2 because I already have a gym. And now we're going to open up Unreal. And hopefully this will not do anything funny. We'll bring up the project in question. And then we're going to import the FBX and see how it looks. And I'm going to show you where I'm going to start looking for assets, because there's lots of stuff. I need some lights, and so on. So what I'm going to do is, this actually looks pretty good, but let's see what this looks like. I am going to make can I make a folder in here? Because what I want is all these to, I can make a folder in here. So, is it, actually it's already in a folder. So, we're gonna, for the moment, We're gonna get rid of all these because we're gonna bring in a new one. They're not going anywhere. We can always bring them back, which is good if we need to. And now we're gonna import, I think it's here. And Gym2 FBX. See, it's going to take a little bit of time. So it actually is kind of small. Now the only other thing is I don't know if I imported this in Nanite. Although I've heard, I'm not sure 100% which is the better way to do it. But we're going to bring this in, and I will get back to you once this is in. Okay, so what I ended up doing, which I did turn on the recorder enough, is when I looked at the original gym, it was way too big. So I brought in the figure, made it kind of proportional. So that helps you keep things in proportion, and looks to be similar proportion, I'll show you in a minute, as our character. Now the other thing I did was I changed the size to get this to fit this character well. I went, and you saw it before when I exported it. Actually, well, let me show you. Basically what's going to happen is you go here, you go FBX, and the important thing is, of course, you don't need animations on for this particular thing. The key thing, and I always forget to do that, you have to select the gym, file, export, FBX, and you can see selection only. That, when you export that, that's going to give you your exported gym. Next thing you have to do is you have to import it. So that's what I did. You do go here and import to game. Again, we had this sometimes this doesn't like tapping. I have to adjust that. And you say open, and well, I don't, but what it's going to do is it's going to give you some choices. No, I don't want to rewrite it. Let's try the old version. Let's go back here. Add, import to game. I'm going to do Gym2. Actually, before I do that, let's just get this in a folder, new folder. And we're going to say Gym3, so that I make sure I have everything, because we have three things here. We have the concrete, which is on move here. We have our, and then we have, so you can see we got all the items. All right, going back, let me show you this again. Import to game. We go Gym2. And we say open. And you see it gives you this. I selected Bill Nanite, and I always forget to import translation, which, let's cancel this. If you look at the gym, I had to rotate on the x-axis by 90 degrees, and you could see it actually looks pretty good. Especially now when we turn on the camera, things can get interesting. We are not allowed to touch the camera, and you can see it's kind of a little too light. So what I may do is change the lighting here. We are allowed to do that. The directional light is this, and if you do Control L and put this down. Directional light, Control L. Maybe I have to have the mouse. I'm going to move the mouse over here and then do, I think it's Control L. Here you go. So you could, whoops, let's make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to close this. And then, yeah. Here we go. There we go. Now we have some more room. And you can see she may be floating a little bit. What's up with her? Let's go back and find my this should be 0. And she is at 0. So they should be yeah, that looks pretty good. So what I may do, let's go back here, is I'm going to go to the directional light and do Control L. Have to be on. See here, and we can. Sometimes this doesn't work. This is why I may actually end up changing it to the what I used in my other project, the Ultimate Sky, because that's a little easier to adjust than this. Let's see, they have temperature, light mass. But anyway, this light has to be adjusted because if you go into the camera, this crazy camera, it's just making it way too light. So I am not, and we're not allowed to touch the camera. We can, however, use the volumetrics and adjust it that way. So we'll see. They want, because keeping the camera the same makes it easier to judge. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to add some, I want some fluorescent lights in here because that's what a real gym would have. I want some mats. But I think we're off to a good start here. So again, let me talk about what we've done here. We've created a gym by putting different, something doesn't look right. By putting, that's interesting. That should not be. I may have to go back and adjust the gym. And but we made a gym. We turned it in. Actually, see, if I'm looking here at the camera, I don't see that little. Oh, let's see. I don't see it because of the angle of the camera. But we made this gym. We made some windows using the. Let me go back over this real quick. I want to see something here. Oh, you know what that line probably is? It's probably the. Let's see. Let's change the angle here. Whoop. Yeah, there's no. It's this here. But we put in some pipes to give it a little decoration. We did it in a way by putting together, and then I can always change it. I save the bits and pieces here and put it together as one thing, so it would come in as one. It wouldn't come in as 10 different pieces, and we also put our little figure here to make this proportional, so you could see. Well, I got it at a weird angle now. There we go. Let's move him up. There. So you can see, and if I twist it, twist it more, you can see it's not huge, but it's, I think, you know, it's going to serve for this. And the good thing is, again, we can always adjust it if we feel it needs to be bigger. I put concrete, standard material, and if you go here, let's see. I'm trying to adjust things in 2 different programs that each have their own way of doing things. Yeah, so this doesn't quite look concrete, so I'm not sure about how well it baked in the textures. It's probably not going to matter because, again, if you look at the scene of the camera, you can't tell. So I'm going to, I said, add some decorations, add some fluorescent lights and things of that nature. I think I like the floor as it is. Although theoretically I can paint the floor and put some lines if there might be, but and some things that give it the air of a dojo. And in terms of the character, of course she has her animation, but I would love to make a little gi for her. I just downloaded Marvelous Designer, and I don't know. We'll see how well I get along with that program. I'm anything but a fashionista. Even though my dad was in that industry for pretty much his whole working life, it was never my thing. But at any rate, so we've seen some good progress here. We've seen how to get something from cinema into Unreal. We have textures. I'm not sure if I like them. We've seen how to get some sense of proportion using the figure, and we will take it from there. And notice I have light coming in from outside, which is pretty cool, but I think it's a bit much. So that will have to be adjusted in some form of fashion. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I will speak to you next time.